Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into our coverage over Generation X. We're going to cover two more issues in today's video. And technically, this video should lead us into the 25th issue of Generation X. And then after that, we're going to shift our focus over to some more cable comics. But with that being said, we do pick up with issue number 24. Now, this issue is a ladies' night, but it's also Christmas Eve. We also kind of get the idea to learn what was it like for each of the ladies on the team when they first gained their mutant abilities. So as we get into the opening pages of the storyline, we really do pick up with the ladies of Generation X. So Emma Frost, Monet, Jubilee, and also Paige Guthrie. Now for the ladies, they're just hanging out. And we kind of learn that for each of the characters, they kind of think of Christmas in different types of ways. Now, I'm not going to sit down and try to explain how each person looks at Christmas, but you do have most of the ladies bring up good ideas of what Christmas could mean for the people across the world. Except for Emma Frost, like she got a little dark there. And really, I'm not going to explain why, but either way, you did have the girls kind of say, you know what? Let's go ahead and begin to share different stories that we never told anyone else. And of course, these different stories are kind of like the ladies telling us like, how was it like when they first gained their mutant abilities? Starting off with Jubilee. Now, for Jubilee, her story is pretty easy to follow. And what I mean by that is because when it came to our coverage over the X-Men, we kind of learned about her character early on in our coverage. And so for Jubilee, they hear the idea that she had a friend named Cynthia, and while their parents were always busy, they were getting in trouble a lot at the mall. Now, apparently one time while trying to escape from security guards, she got cornered. And so when it came to her being cornered by some security guards, that was when her powers had truly manifested. And so of course she began to freak out. Now, the end of this story really shows that after her powers had truly manifested, you had her friend Cynthia being able to be there in the girl's corner. Now, technically, it is Monet's turn when it comes to telling her story about how her powers first manifested. Now, for Monet, it's not really her trying to explain how things really went down. And really, it's more of Marvel trying to hide the big secret about the origin of Monet. And the reason why I'm saying that, because you have Monet sharing this story where apparently her powers had truly manifested and when she was a young girl, and everyone was amazed by her. They loved her. They would be around her all the entire time. And for Jubilee, she's kind of like, that's a fake story. There's no way that when your powers were manifested, everyone in your country, in your land, just loved you so much and wanted to be around you. And technically, she's right, because when it came to Monet in an earlier storyline, she told Banshee when her powers had first manifested, her father took her to all these different types of doctors. We got a lot of dark backgrounds about this character early on in our coverage over Generation X. But while you had Monet talking to, well, her friends, you did have Monet be confronted by her brother Implate. Now, here's the thing about Generation X. Like, as we actually go throughout the entire series, we begin to learn more and more about Monet's family, her, Implate, and also Penance, because there's so many different secrets going on with all these different characters. And technically, we only have reached the surface. Now, with that being said, when it comes to Implate, he's making sure that his presence is not known by the rest of the ladies there. But it's also him kind of hinting at the idea that because him and also Monet are siblings, they kind of share the same thing. The whole idea of wanting to feed off mutant genetics off different mutants, because technically Implate is kind of like a vampire where he does feed off people genetics. But either way, when it comes to Implate, it's him also wanting to hold Monet with accountability, because he says, listen, it's your fault, but also someone else's fault that I am trapped in this other dimension. Now, we technically saw an earlier appearance of this other dimension where you had all these different hands just pulling at his skin, ripping skin off left and right. And every once in a while, he'll be able to recover, but come back into this reality. But it's him saying like, it's your fault, but also the other person's fault who have put me here. Kind of hinting at the idea that it was Penance's fault who locked him away. Now, once you have Emplate leave, you then have everyone go back to normal, and you then have Husk begin to be able to explain her story. Now, when it comes to Husk, as we all know, she is the younger sister to Cannonball. Now, once Cannonball had officially left to join the New Mutants, and then later on join the X-Men, for Husk, the next in line as the siblings were growing up, she wanted to gain her mutant ability. And so over time, she would do different types of things to see what her power would truly be. Now, the thing is, once she had discovered her mutant ability, she was excited. But as she grown up, she kind of realized with her living the farm life, it was kind of easy to discover her mutant ability and not be judged by other people. But also, she has the ability to hide her powers. Now, the last person to speak up is no other than, well, Emma Frost. Now, for Emma, this kind of helps out a lot because we did learn a few things about her character over time, but I love the idea of just Marvel adding pieces to different characters' past before we had officially saw them. And so for Emma Frost, we learn here that when she was a young girl and she had gained her mutant ability, well, of course, she began to hear voices. Now, her parents, they had no idea what to do with their daughter. They had no idea that technically she had some kind of power or she was a mutant. And of course, they didn't send her over to Charles Xavier. They sent her over to an asylum. And so while being there in that asylum, just locked away over time, she began to learn more about her powers. And luckily she did, because while being in that asylum, she was being tortured in different types of ways by the guards there. But once she had learned how to use her powers, she was then able to escape from that asylum. And so this issue is really more, again, a Christmas issue, but also kind of like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and tell you the different stories of how these ladies acted when they first gained their abilities. Now, Monet, technically, we didn't learn about her past, but hey, you know what? We did learn some more things about how Emplate is saying she's at fault for why he's locked away in that other dimension. But the very last page of this book is really more of us picking up with Mondo. Now, Mondo appeared earlier on in our coverage over Generation X. Here's the thing, because ever since he had joined the team, we haven't really seen him that much. He only appears here and there. Well, there's a reason why, because Mondo is working with somebody else, and that person will appear in the next issue. And so as we dive into the 25th issue, we're now really picking up with, well, Banshee being attacked by Mondo. And this is kind of huge for Banshee, because for Mondo, he's one of the students that Banshee was trying to teach, trying his best to take care of. But if you kind of realize in our coverage, Mondo was hardly around. And the reason why, because he was in the background just studying the different members of Generation X to learn more about their strengths and their weaknesses as well. But the question is right now, who is Mondo truly working for? Well, that would be Black Tom. Now, when it came to Black Tom around this time in Marvel Comics, he was kind of going through a huge change. And let me explain, because for Black Tom, he was an enemy early on for X-Force when they first appeared in Marvel Comics, where you had Cable shoot Black Tom. Now, Deadpool was able to save Black Tom's life, yes, but when it came to Black Tom, he went over to a few scientists. And what they did was, these doctors they grafted wood-like substance onto his wounds, allow him to heal at a faster rate. Here comes the big problem though. You see, they had some kind of genetic virus in the wood they had grafted to his body. And so over time, his body began to slowly change form to where it's more like a wood plant body. But either way, it's him right now attacking, well, his cousin Banshee here. But now we do switch over to Emma Frost. Now for Emma Frost, you have her on the phone with a character known as Torres. Now we met Torres early on our coverage over Generation X, where we had learned that she has some kind of connection to skin. and she's also a gang leader back in LA. But when it comes to Torres being on the phone with Emma Frost, once that call ends, you have Emma returning back to the school. Except when she does, she realizes the school has been officially taken over by plants, of course being Black Tom. And so when you have Emma Frost be confronted by Black Tom, she can't use her powers against him. And matter of fact, you have Black Tom being able to take over her body. But now we have to switch over to Jubilee. Now for Jubilee, she's technically on the run at the moment. Her main goal is to get away from Mondo. But here's the thing, because while trying to get away, she's confronted by Bastion. Now for Bastion, he has been doing his research on the different members of Generation X, Chamber, and also Emma Frost. So we already knew sooner or later he would be able to find a school. Well, he did. He found Jubilee, and he was able to protect Jubilee from Mondo. Now, we're kind of left to believe that Mondo is officially dead because Bastion killed him, but he also takes Jubilee with him to use her as a way to collect information on the X-Men. But now we have to switch over to Howard the Duck. Now, for Howard the Duck, he's just trying his best to protect the kids who go to school. So for example, that would be Artie, Leech, and also, oh my God, Franklin Richards. I don't know how in the world I forgot about Franklin Richards. Now, for Howard the Duck, his girlfriend is there as well, and also another character known as Niall. But right now, you have their treehouse being attacked by Black Tom. Now, while you do have the kids trying to sneak out, Howard the Duck is trying his best to distract Black Tom long enough to kind of get him into his trap. You see, for Howard the Duck, he set gasoline all over the treehouse. So of course, he lights it on fire, which does affect Black Tom as well, but does not kill Black Tom off. Now, for our young group here, they believe they might have a chance to get the heck out of there. Now, while you do have our young group right now trying to get the heck out of the area, they realize the one way out is completely blocked off by Black Tom roots. But then another character makes his appearance in this storyline, somebody who's really close to Howard the Duck, and that would be Man-Thing. Now you do have Howard the Duck remind us, but also tell the young kids like who Man-Thing is. That when it comes to Man-Thing, he's the guardian of the nexus of all realities. Now we do see him kind of really focus more on Franklin Richards, but we kind of get the idea that he was able to get all the kids out of there by, well, teleporting them out of there before Black Tom was able to come back and try to get his hands on the children. And so just like that, those kids have now been officially removed from the book at the moment. Now, when it comes to Black Tom, there is one character he kind of forgotten about, and that would be Penance. And so you have Penance right now just behind the scenes at the moment. Now, she does kind of walk by Gateway. And let's not forget, it was Gateway who brought Penance over to the school. And the reason why he gave her that name, because he's trying to be forgiven for what he had done when it came to the death of the Hellions. Now, the Hellions were Emma Frost's original students before she had joined the side of the X-Men. And really, she tried to use the Hellions as a way to battle against Charles Xavier's New Mutants at that time. But either way, Penance right now is still out there. For Black Tom, he'd forgotten about her. But this kind of leads to us learning, like, why is Black Tom doing all of this for? Like, what is his actual end game? And we learn here that for Black Tom, the reason why he's doing all of this for is because, well, he's mad at Banshee for taking away Teresa, better known as Siren. You see, when it came to Black Tom, he raised Siren. Banshee had no idea that the woman he loved was pregnant with Teresa. And so for Black Tom, he raised her, but kept her as a secret from Banshee until she was grown and found out that, hey, I have a father. And there he goes. Bam. Just like that, she met Banshee. But once she did, she slowly moved away from Black Tom. Now, technically, she was already doing that because Black Tom was a criminal. But it's him saying, because you took her away from me, I'm going to take these kids away from you because I know these kids mean a lot to you. And so you didn't have Emma Frost appear. Now for Black Tom, he's playing this very sick game where he basically tells Banshee like, okay, if you kill off Emma Frost, I'll give the kids back to you. But if you don't, she'll kill you. And so right now it's her just beating down on Banshee. Now for Emma Frost, let's not forget that she lost her Hellions and she blames herself so many times for the death of the Hellions. And so for her, her end goal is to make sure that the current students are well protected. She tells Banshee, go ahead and kill me. Kill me off right now as a way to save these kids' lives. Please just kill me. But you have Banshee not wanting to, but you have Emma Frost use her powers on Banshee to basically force him to use his sonic screen. So we're kind of left to believe she could be dead, but as we all know, she's not dead at all. Now, because Black Tom had completely forgotten about Penance, you have Penance being able to sneak up on Black Tom and just use her ability to cut him in half. Now, technically, he's not dead because his new body form is made out of, well, vegetation. And so he's not dead for the time being, but he does have to slip away because he was severely damaged by Penance. Now for Banshee, he also discovers that all the different bodies he saw that he believed that were his students are not really his students at all. That in reality, his kids are being held somewhere else. And the question is now, where? And so this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.